July of 2015, we finally got Wayne County to agree with us that we ought to try and find a way to cause the system to be transferred to the communities without having it cost a lot of money or resulting in a rate increase. And as a result, we've agreed to jointly prepare a request for a proposal to be sent out to potentially private operators who might be interested in coming in and operating the system. Here's kind of the broad outline of the plan from the community's perspective. First, when we get bids from these private operators, we want to see how much we can save by having them operate the system versus the county operating the system. This will help determine a transfer price based upon what we hope we can save and not raise the rates. If we can determine that the annual savings would be sufficient without a raise in rates to pay for a new bond issuance, the money raised from which would be sufficient to pay the Wayne County transfer fee, whatever that number turns to be negotiated. The bond repayments would be made over a period of time, tied into the service agreement, operating agreement with the new operator. If we can make that all work, then it may make sense for the communities to say, we're going to issue bonds based upon the savings we're going to obtain by getting a new operator. We can afford to pay the annual debt service going forward for the next 30 or 40 years, get Wayne County out of our hair, and eventually save money in terms of the operation of the plant. On July 2nd, due while, the authorities sent a letter to the Deputy CEO, Richard Kaufman of Wayne County. We confirmed that we were prepared to enter into discussions and negotiations with them. We named a technical coordinator, a financial coordinator, and me as the legal coordinator to handle the negotiations with Wayne County. We continued to indicate to them that we had very serious concerns about information we had been requesting from them back to March of this year. For example, we asked them to confirm in writing and to actually take action to segregate our fund into a private, separate enterprise reserve account so there'd be no question that it was our money going forward. We asked them to give us information about the rates for the upcoming year. We haven't heard anything from them about a rate package and what it's going to cost the communities going forward. We asked them to continue to meet with us as part of this joint management committee that we formed back in 2001. So we had continuing oversight about how the system is being operated. Wayne County had been talking about a hiring freeze and overtime pay reductions. And we said, you can't do that as far as the operation of the treatment plant because this is an essential service. You've got to have it properly staffed. We want to make sure that your hiring freeze does not apply to the county Downriver system. What we've just also learned, and most significantly, is the county was supposed to be in a position to obtain a state revolving fund loan for about $18 million in improvements, necessary improvements for the Downriver system. We learned last week that that SRF loan may be in jeopardy because of county inaction. We've asked them to give us an update about where that stands. The concern is the county now with junk bond rating may not be able to sell bonds and get the loan. We're working with them to see what we can do to try and make sure that loan is available to us. So where do we go from here? The RFP is going to be issued this week. We hope to get bids back by October 5th. We hope to select the winning bidder by November 12th. This would then be followed by a negotiation with Wayne County about the terms and conditions of the transfer agreement, including a transfer price. What's now facing all the 13 communities in the Downriver system? And I think it goes to a couple of items that the mayor talked about that are on your agenda. One, there's a resolution needed to continue the work of the Joint Management Committee so we can continue to have a forum to meet with Wayne County to make sure we know what's going on with that system, to talk about what's happening with this capital improvement issue, the $18 million issue that I just spoke of. So that's the first thing a community needs to do now, and all the communities are in the process of doing that. Second, we need to adopt a resolution to approve the allowance of Lincoln Park to come in and join DUWA. They were the one community sitting on the sidelines, but now they've expressed an interest in coming in and joining, paying their initiation fee as all the other communities had. So we have really, hopefully speaking with one voice going forward with all these communities. What happens if we can't arrive at an agreement with Wayne County about this RFP? What happens if we can't agree on a transfer price? What are our options at that point? The legal committee, made up of all the attorneys representing the communities Downriver, which I chair, came up with different options. One option option is to file what's called a notice of interest with the Wayne County Register of Deeds, basically saying, we own all these assets. We're putting any potential purchaser or operator on notice that we have an unequivocal claim to ownership of these assets. The second thing we've talked about doing is withholding payments to Wayne County, other than the bond payments. Because Taylor and all the other communities pledged their full faith and credit, we don't want to have the city's credit damaged by not making bond payments. But all the other payments toward O&M kinds of procedures, we could put an escrow and see if that gets the county to be a little more flexible in their discussions with us. And certainly the last thing we can do is prepare and file a lawsuit. That lawsuit's been drafted. It's kind of sitting on the shelf. And what would we ask for in that lawsuit? We would ask the court to declare ownership rights in the system assets. We would ask for a full accounting as to Wayne County's use of our cash reserves. We would ask for an injunction preventing the sale and lease of the system to a third party without our approval. We would ask for an injunction to prevent the use of our cash reserves for anything other than system purposes, and for establishing the separate account we've been talking about. It's a lot of information. I had to go back a ways, but I wanted to kind of bring you up to date in terms of our discussions with Wayne County and where we are presently. I'd be happy to take any questions that council members may have. Yes, sir.
A couple of questions. The $37 million reserve fund, is it there? Do we know how much is there? You said they've been borrowing from it?
We know that they borrowed in May 2014. The representations we received from Deputy CEO Kaufman last week at a meeting at Lakes of Taylor was that they have not borrowed any money since then. The last audited financial we've seen is 2014. So we don't know what's happened since that time up to the present, but we're relying upon their representation. They have not. But again, we've asked them to verify that by giving us any kind of an updated financial piece that they can to establish that fact.
Well, if I could interject just for a second, that's pretty important because although, as Patrick said, that they're telling us they have not borrowed against that, they're not demonstrating that they have not. I mean, and that's basically what the board has requested. You know, stop telling us and start showing us.
Well, then my other question was, if we had $37 million in reserve, you said there was a bond, but we want to do a bond for $18 million. Why would we even do that if we had the $37 million in reserve?
Some of it is earmarked, some of it is restricted.
Okay.
And we're hoping to get this SRF loan, which is like a half a point in terms of the interest rate, which is much better than pulling our money out and then trying to replenish it.
No, I was just going to say, just on that point, I think there's actually another challenge to the $18 million. That's no longer 18 million, isn't it? That's 13 million or something like that, but nobody knows what's been reduced.
Exactly.
Okay, and then do we know the annual operating cost of that facility? Do you have any idea?
I want to say the annual operating budget is, I'd have to check on that. Let me get back to that, Council.
Yeah, because that's what we're going for when we put out a proposal, right? We want to see if we can
Drop it.
drop it.
Yes.
So if it's 300 million, we want to see 250 million.
And I think there's some room for that. One of the things the communities were most concerned about was making sure that on the operating end of it, that the employees there could do more than one function. So there was a study conducted that resulted in the drop of the number of employees so that they were multitasking. That ended up saving us money. We think we can be saving even more.
I got a quick question. What is the protection as far as sometimes when you have two entities go into battle, you know, the employees and everybody else pays for it. So what protection as far as for the residents, who, I guess, would say, who monitors, what is stopping Wayne County from saying, well, we're just going to jump the rates up 75%? Is there somebody in place that can stop that if, you know, if they're not getting what they're wanting on one end as far as financials, they can just up our rates, right?
What we have done, and historically since the JMC has been formed, is they present us with a rate package, which we have to approve. The Wayne County Commission ultimately approves the rates, and they always say, if the Downriver communities approve, then we'll approve it. So that may be one check.
But we haven't gotten that yet, and that's my
After
fear,
2016.
that they're waiting to see what's going on here to where, you know, I just hope that there's either a government entity in place to stop, you know, them from taking it out on us or other residents? of other
Certainly we can be in
communities?
court if they try to gouge us on rates.
Okay.